Sports. I'm Nick Eustace.
And I'm Darren Anderson.
Thank you guys so much for joining us out there, especially all the UK fans out there probably hungover right now after the Olympic party. I don't know if you've been watching the Olympics out there, but I have. It's been pretty...
yeah, I have been. I've been following.
Kind of hard to follow.
Yeah.
But anyway, another story for another day. Let me throw out that website, pfpsports.com. That's your website. Upload that stuff every day. We're going to be doing it 2 shows a week now. We've got this webcast here, and we're going to be doing the ESPN show on Saturday. And we're hoping to put a live link up there so that everybody can listen to it. It's like a iHeartRadio equivalent so that everybody can listen out there. And then, we're going to kind of switch things up here or there. It's going to be a little bumpy for about 2 or 3 weeks, but we're going to get it squared away. So throw that out there. Facebook, Pound for Pound Sports. Make sure you hit like. Got a couple new likes this week, so thank you guys. And then with that.
Yeah, we're constantly checking that stuff, too. Don't just seem like, we're just...
You are constantly checking?
We are.
Okay. I am, too. I just want to make sure I'm the only one.
We know when people are liking us, and, we check out their profiles and stuff. It's cool. So.
You know what? On another note, let me also just throw out there that I like all the haters, too.
Oh, yeah.
You got anything awful to say? I don't mind either.
Suck it.
Basically. So anyway, thanks everybody, good and bad, for the support. And this show is going to be kind of different. We're not going to break down the UFC on FX card. Let me point that out. And then also my favorite segment, Take It to the Book. We're saving all that stuff for Saturday. It's going to be a totally different show. There's been a lot of, I don't want to say crazy, some crazy headlines, some not so crazy. But this show is kind of, I was excited about the show just because it's a little switch. It's a lot of, you don't want to use the word gossip, but it's just a lot of mainstream news, not necessarily fight.
Yeah, we're taking, the juiciest stories we're going to save, obviously, for our debut on the radio Saturday. So, but no, when I was, going over the show notes, I was really excited about this show.
Been a busy week nonetheless. I mean,
for sure.
No matter what you're doing, you look on any of your favorite websites, hopefully it's ours, you'll see tons of stuff, and it's been a busy week. So with that, let me point out the first crazy story that I could think of is Badr Hari. For everybody out there that doesn't know what happened, Badr Hari, first off, is a K1 kickboxing legend. I think he has somewhere in the neighborhood of around 100 wins, well over 100 fights. 88 by knockout was the stat that it jumped out at me. I was like, I don't care what league, what anything you're doing, 88 out of 100. That's a pretty incredible knockout ratio. He was involved in another scuffle. I don't want to say a little scuffle. It was another scuffle. I'm just going to quote InsideBoxing.com reports that Hari was allegedly part of a 3-man group who attacked a victim, and his assault was by far the most vicious. It also says after the victim, after suffering a broken ankle from the full force stomp that injured his leg, he positively identified the K1 star as the assailant. And then the crazy part is that this triggers a back-end type of thing. I guess there was a previous incident where he kicked I think it was the owner of a bar or a manager of a bar. He kicked him in the head. Guy reportedly, he lost a couple teeth, bleeding all over the place. That's not hard to imagine with a guy with Hari's skill set. And I remember you were saying to me before the show that, it was almost as if you went around and smacked a kid. That's like the comparison in skill sets.
100%. These guys are trained fighters. This is what they do for a living. It's absolutely the case.
And it's not just what they do for a living. This guy not only does that, but he's one of the
best in the
benchmark strikers on the entire planet. It's hard to say. In interviewing a couple of people this week, you kind of think to yourself, I actually came across a couple instances where I asked a guy a question. It was total fabrication on the Internet. So I'm the first one to say you can't believe everything you read on the Internet. But this one, like I said, he's kind of, he's like their golden.
Though.
Yeah, he's known for being a dirty fighter.
He's a dirty fighter. He's a loose cannon. There's no secrets of him out there. But there's in no way can you have professional fighters out there just beating up, Tommy cans over
regular people
over in clubs. I'm like thinking it's so bad for the sport and I get it. There's dudes in every bar. There's dudes in every club that need to get their ass whipped.
Well, you just brought up a good point because if you listen to most mainstream guys, like if you listen to a Boss Rutan, that guy's always getting challenged. Everybody, you ever get every Billy out there, every Billy badass wanting to test themselves against a legend or a pinnacle of the sport.
Let one of the dudes in your entourage handle it. But the last thing they need is for these guys to just start beating up some dude in a corner of a bar that's had a little too much to drink. And I understand. Maybe the guy had it coming.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens a lot more than you think.
But it's just not only is it bad for the sport, and when I say the sport, I mean combat sports in general, all of them. But it's even worse for the image. These fighters work so hard to build up this image that they're not just these, low life, I'm a
meatheads,
meathead, exactly. They try to build up such an image, and to see a couple fighters out there beating up dudes in clubs, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you know
what?
Not good. Think about how it is for K1 too. This guy was riding I think it was a 3-fight win streak, and this guy was their guy. It's like, that's their legend, that's their Hall of Famer. I mean, this guy was the guy that they were going to build future fights around.
You mentioned, he's knocking out dudes' teeth, and I mean, look what he does to other professional fighters.
That's a good point.
I mean, and he's
professional athletes, killers.
What did I say? Did I say MMA fighters?
You said fighters.
I said fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just look what he's doing to other professionals, and you're going to pick up some dude. I mean, regardless of how hard some guy in a bar works out. I mean, it's just I love watching two old ladies fight, but I don't even think I'd want to see that. I mean, that's ugly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's one of those things you see like on Tosh.0, where some guy just gets knocked out cold and they can't wake him up. That's kind of how I picture it going. Honestly, I don't really know where to go from here. I mean, it's you ask yourself, what is your feeling about this story? And my feeling is that it's more shock than anything else. I mean, it's just it's so out of left field. It's just not what you expected from like I said, a guy that you build an entire promotion around. Maybe some a Junie Browning type, some guy that right on the bubble of making it in. But I mean, not a guy like that. And I wanted to ask you, you hate to speculate and everything like that. Do you think there's a lot of guys under a lot of scrutiny over there for taking roids? True or not, that seems to be the knock on guys coming from, the Netherlands. I think Golden Glory was the camp Alistair came from. I mean, they came under fire. Like I said, I don't believe in every internet rumor I read, but you do see a lot of people saying things like that about European fighters these days.
Yeah.
Is it roid rage? I mean, would you be shocked if they came out, hey man, this guy juices? I mean,
you want to know what I honestly think? Is the dude probably just likes to party? Maybe he had a few too many cocktails. I don't know. I guess he was at a rave or something when this happened.
Oof,
and let's make it clear, this is the second incident that's been brought up, but I'm sure there's been more where
that
people
you didn't hear
just
about.
kind of stayed hushed,
For sure.
And maybe I mean I don't know. I've never taken roids, so I can't really.
I can't vouch for the rage part.
Yeah, I can't vouch for the roid rage, but I'm sure it's possible.
Sure, it's out there. I don't know, man. Really, more or less right now, the only feeling is really shock, and not really.
I don't think you should be that shocked.
I kind of am,
I'm
man.
not that shocked. I mean, the dude's a loose cannon, dude.
I don't know, man. It's just it's crazy. I mean, like I said, I believe that maybe some guy could have been running his mouth, but that again.
Well, let me ask you a question. Does this make him any less attractive of a draw? I mean, I'm still gonna watch him fight.
That's an excellent question, and the answer for me is no.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to see him more now. To be honest with you.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's still next. Assuming he's able to get away with all the problems with the law. I mean, I still can't wait to see his next fight.
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know what Dutch law is or anything like that. I don't know if it's it's harder than what we have or what we deal with over here, but I guess only time's going to tell on that one.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's not as hard as what we deal with over here.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a
reason everything's legal over there.
Right, yeah. There's a reason you don't see fighters like that fighting over here either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I
mean, all the best promotions are over here. They're all the competitors are they're absorbed into the bigger, better promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, why haven't we seen him here? I don't know. Thiago Silva, he leaves American Top Team for the Black Zillions. Is that a good move for him? I was a little surprised to see that, but then not surprised because we've always been big on cross-training, cross-promoting, and things like that. So what's your initial thought on that one?
My initial thought, I was actually really surprised, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the guy has been with American Top Team for quite some time. He's built a 14-3 record, and, I mean, he is one of the top fighters at 205. I know a lot of people on the Internet have been hating on him, but he's still one of the top fighters at 205. He had a long layoff. He's battled some drug issues, some false tests, whatever
it was,
some injuries. Yeah. And, I still to this day, I got in here on the post-fight show and said I didn't think it was anything he or his camp did wrong against Gustafsson. I just thought he got beat by a better fighter,
by a better technical fighter. That
I mean, so I was a little surprised because we're not looking at a guy who's kind of been in a rut the last 3-4 years,
right?
So I was a little surprised that he moved over there. But with that being said, I mean.
Well, you mentioned that Gustafsson fight. I mean, at no point during that fight was he not, a threat to end that fight. I mean, that guy he's a scary matchup for anybody. I don't care what's hurting. I mean, even when he fought Rashad, I can't remember. It was like in the early 100s, 108, 106. He fought Rashad. I think it was a back injury, and at that point in time, in my memory, that's actually what started this whole epidemic with injuries. I don't think I've really seen it change since then, but he had a back issue, and rumor had it that they paid him extra money to not back out of the fight because it was an injury-plagued card. So he didn't, and, he looked kind of – it wasn't his best performance against Rashad, but he still rocked Rashad and almost ended the fight. Yeah. I mean, this guy's always a threat. I think it's a fantastic move for him. American Top Team is a great team, but you know what? So is the Black Zillions, and you know what? It really just goes to show that, you can get – I don't know. I think you can definitely plateau at a camp if you stay there too long. I mean, there's too many ways. There's too many body movements that you have to learn and perfect out there. And I just don't think there's any one camp that can do everything for you forever.
Well, I think, I mean, just off the top of my head, I don't know the exact number, but this is at least the fourth or fifth guy that's come over from ATT to the Black Zillions. I mean, a lot of them are like coaches and lower-level guys, but I mean, at some point, I wonder if American Top Team is going to start saying, hey, dude, I mean, why are you taking all of our guys? Why are you taking all of our coaches and instructors?
They might.
I mean, I wonder if there's eventually going to stir up some beef between the two camps, but, you know, Black Zillions are on the move, man. They got Melvin Gillard's coming up with a big fight. Obviously, everybody knows about Rashad. He's still one of the best 205.
Al-Star
Overeem just recently.
Mario Sperry's a great trainer over there. I mean, it's that camp is coming up, and you know, you bring up a good point. I kind of wonder, you know, how much of that is kind of like the whole AKA situation. Sometimes there's underlying stories that we're not privy to. You know,
what's so weird? I mean, just I don't know exactly when the fight got changed. Let's say 2 months ago. I mean, Thiago Silva was the original opponent for Shogun.
Right.
And you know, there was, I don't, at least to the best of my knowledge, I don't think there was any talks of him switching camps then. So, and you know, I was one that was really bummed that he had to pull out of that. I thought that fight with Shogun was going to be amazing, but we'll talk about Shogun at a later date.
For sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
Oh, you're done. Real quick, Invicta. You know what? Let's talk about that when we get back real quick. We're going over a little bit. So, guys, we're going to go on a quick break. Give us a minute and a half. Be right back. PFP, ESPN.
A little rough, but
what? Which is the whole thing?
Our focus is on Saturday.
I'm not gonna lie. It is.
Yeah. Whatever. Those 5 people out there on Justin TV can't appreciate that.
Sog it. For sure. Hey, can you see it, or let me know when we're live?
I'll just speed it up during the Ricky Hatton thing.
Okay, let's just go straight through.
Done,
Let's
baby.
do it. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sorry about the technical issues there. We're not going to take any more breaks. We're just going to kind of go through everything real quick. Like I said, a lot of good quick rumors, so we'll try and move through it as quick as we can. Real quick before we went to the break, Invicta FC, it's an all-women's promotion. I wanted to bring that up because we had Barb Honchak on last week. She had, I think it was a second-round TKO.
Second round.
So congrats to her.
Yeah, good job.
Absolutely. Just a great promotion for women's MMA. And like I said, I talked to their promoter, and he brought up a really good point, just that, you know, women's MMA is kind of where men's MMA was about 8 years plus ago, you know. And I kind of see a lot of similarities there. And I don't think anybody can deny the fact that it's coming up over the last year. And there's been some fantastic athletes. My question to you is, how big do you think this promotion could get, first of all?
You know what? I think it could get very big. I mean, the women's MMA needs that pinnacle, you know, kind of what the UFC is to men. They need that. They still don't have that. I guess you could call it Strikeforce, but Strikeforce doesn't really have all that much women's talent. And now they have the top 4 or 5 women fighters in the world, but they don't have a roster full of women fighters. So it's such an unproven market, an untapped market. You know,
untapped is great.
And I mean, I wonder. I sit back and I wonder how many. As you're looking at their early success, they had over 300,000 people streaming that thing online. That is crazy numbers to stream something online, 300,000. So there's no question that they're going to be able to work on a TV deal, which I think would probably be the next step for them.
It's substantially more people than watch an actual, a good Strikeforce card on Showtime.
Oh,
that garnered equally good ratings.
No question, and we're talking about people streaming it online. I mean, not everybody has something to stream available to them.
So you got to wonder how many people didn't watch it that would have.
And 300,000 people, you can't sit there and say it's just all friends and family members.
No.
That's a lot of people. But I've been critical in the past, even on past shows since we started doing our show here about women's MMA, and it's never been about the athletes. But I always felt that there wasn't enough competition. I mean, you look at the early days, and I think the first real women's star was Gina Carano.
Right.
And we saw her just basically beat up everybody. And then Cyborg, same thing.
Yeah.
And now kind of Ronda Rousey. But we're starting to get a lot more competition, and there's a lot more fighters for them to fight out there. Before we'd just see crazy boxing odds with these women's fights. I mean, Ronda Rousey a plus 600 against her.
Yeah.
Somebody challenging her for her belt.
For the title, right.
It's crazy stuff. So as the competition gets better, no question. There's no question in my mind. I think this could be big.
You think they get big enough to merge with like another promotion, maybe a Zuffa competitor?
I think they could. I mean, I don't think Zuffa has any interest really in having women's MMA at this point. Once it gets big. maybe they will.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if maybe they wait long term. I mean, like, kind of in the short term. Maybe like I throw a Bellator out there only because they, your Bellators. Another one, I think Titan FC. You see them a lot on Inside MMA. But those type of promotions, they have like a TV deal already in place. What they need is more talent, and what these people need is a TV deal. It would be a good marriage.
And Invicta FC is going to have a TV deal. I would bet within the next 6 months. 300,000 people stream that online. There's no question they already have the following.
Now, granted, it's apples and oranges, but there are some UFC events that don't even gross 300,000 in views. But you're talking about a 65. There's a substantial price difference. I get it, but I'm saying simple numbers. I mean, you're still talking about something you can't ignore forever.
Well, and going back to last week's interview with Barb, I mean, she brought up a good point. I'd asked her if it was her goal to fight in Strikeforce. And surprisingly to me, she kind of said, you know what? I mean, obviously I'd like to fight in Strikeforce, but, I'm happy with Invicta FC. I mean, these women that are fighting for them, it's obviously a great promotion. They're all, super pumped to be fighting there. And, I can't wait to watch her next. Unfortunately, I had other previous engagements, so I couldn't stream it. But
right.
You better believe if they don't have a TV deal, I'll be streaming the next one.
No, I will for sure. Absolutely, man. It's actually I'm right there with you on that, man. I'm glad to see they're doing numbers like that, man.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. Ricky Hatton, a lot of British fans out there watching us. I know that's your boy. First off, if you get a chance to look at the picture, I don't know if you guys can throw it up there. For a guy that fought at 147, first off, does it even look like he could make 147 anytime soon?
No.
And secondly, does he play his cards right? Can he grab enough cash? Our favorite term around here, but can he grab enough cash to sink it into his promotion? Maybe eke out another couple fights. What's your opinion on that?
You know what? To answer your question about the picture, there's no way that
staggering.
He's looking a little plump, but you know what? We shouldn't really be shocked. He's always had weight issues. He's always going back to 06, 07. He's had weight issues, and he's always been able to blame it on his other engagements and stuff like that. But
yeah,
basically the guy's promotion is struggling, and let's be real here, his life is struggling. I mean, the guy. I read a story. I saw a story online where he's addicted to coke or and all kinds of stuff. So
it's tough,
who does
man.
he fight? I mean, who does he fight? You look at his list, and I know he's he's their boy. He's the boy over there, but you look at the list of people he's fought. The big names on that list are Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and
pay-per-view kings, and that's not even an option anymore.
And they both knocked him out. I heard rumors of Amir Khan.
I was going to say what you want, and if I can go off on a tangent for a second, I'm tired of people, Amir Khan. Everybody likes to throw around the term glass job, but you know what? Danny Garcia cracked him with a solid shot on the button, dude.
If those two guys would have fought in 6 months, Amir Khan would wreck.
He was looking. Amir Khan was looking scary the first 3 rounds, and you know what?
You want to talk about a glass? I mean, Ricky hadn't got knocked out by Mayweather. Mayweather hasn't knocked anyone out in like 50
anybody?
years, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like
so. Break,
so
dude.
for people to stop.
He hasn't knocked out a man in about 50 years. but I had to get that little stab in there.
I love it. Yeah, man. That's I'm telling you, people like scoff at Amir Khan though. I don't think it's fair. Tim Bradley's another guy. I don't see that.
He did knock out. You know what? That's right. People, I forgot last time we talked about Floyd Mayweather. We want to talk about that dirty knockout of Victor Ortiz. So yeah, you go ahead and throw that in there.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with Ortiz. You know what? There's a lot of people they'll drink that Kool-Aid out there too, and I'm not one of them. But again, I'm always the sucker that gets roped into buying all these pay-per-views, man. And you know what? I don't think it's ever going to change. I'm always going to do that.
Yeah, no, I'll still watch it. I'll still watch Amir Khan wreck him. But
I think Amir Khan is. Say what you will about his job, but I think he's severely underrated. He looked like an animal those first 3 rounds.
Ricky Hatton hasn't fought since 2008. Amir Khan, his last fight, how quick he was. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'd be surprised if Ricky Hatton even got a punch off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. And think about, I'm a huge believer in ring rust too.
I know you are. You're all in love with ring rust.
I'm telling you, there's only a handful of people that's not a factor for, and a guy that's getting up there in age. I mean, forget about it. Moving on to MMA, Luke Rockhold. What's funny is we were sitting here a couple weeks ago wondering, hey, what time is when is enough over at Strikeforce? When do we bring this guy over? Who do you throw? Rockhold? I couldn't really think of anybody. I mean, Tim Kennedy was as qualified a guy as there was out there, and outclassed isn't even the word. I mean, Tim Kennedy just looked very one-dimensional out there, and if that's
just like I called.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? If that's the next closest on the throne of that 185 title, I mean, I think it's probably as good a time as any to bring him over. But the only problem with that is that 185 is more stacked and more competitive now than it's ever been. So I mean, timing is everything. It's time for Rockhold to move on, in my opinion. But I don't know that there's a really good spot for him right now in the UFC. What's your opinion on that?
Well, real quick, I know Dana White has come out and said that these guys will honor their Strikeforce contracts. So but we've seen recently with Daniel Cormier that they're bringing a UFC fighter over there to fight him in Strikeforce. I got no problem with him doing that in this. I mean, I think there's matchups for him. He recently called out Tim Bosch.
That's what I was going to say. That was the next part of the question. What do you think about that, him calling out Bosch?
To be quite honest with you, I kind of think it's a joke, man. I mean, who...
Him calling out Bosch? Or?
I do, yeah. I mean, who... it's funny. It's such a double-edged sword for me because you got guys like Gilbert Melendez who'll go win and he'll call out the UFC champ,
Yeah, right.
Or then we got guys calling out GSP.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Carlos Condit called out GSP after a WEC win. And, I'm always critical on that, but I think this is like the reverse end of the spectrum, and I'm going to be critical on that, too. I don't know. Maybe you just can't satisfy me. I don't know, but Tim Bosch, I mean... you're picking on somebody that... You're calling out somebody that is in the lower half of the top 10.
See, and this is where we part ways, because I actually think it's a great matchup. It's a stark contrast between what you just saw with Hector Lombard and that same fighter in Bosch.
You know what? But we're assuming... Everyone's acting like Tim Bosch looked great in that fight.
He did it. No, I'm not saying that.
Hector Lombard lost that fight. I wouldn't really say
no,
Tim Bosch
did what he had to do. He did what he had to do to stay out of the way of that one-dimensional fighter we saw in Hector Lombard. But what I'm saying is that, okay, who else then? I mean, there's
other fights out there.
There's at least 7 other guys on that one in that 185 division, I think.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather see a rematch with Jacare than see him fight Tim Bosch.
You know what? That's probably exactly what you're going to see at Strikeforce, actually. That's probably exactly what you're going to see.
But, I don't know. I just, get in there after you win. You're the Strikeforce champion, call out.
He's calling out.
Call out Weidman. Weidman doesn't have an opponent, although
yeah, but
he's.
I think it's way too high up the ladder. I think that is. I think Bosch is a good benchmark guy.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just call him out.
Bosch is the Mendoza line in the 185 division right now. Would you agree? I think he is.
I would say, I don't know. But there's more interesting fights to me. I mean, Yushin Okami. A lot of these guys have their cards full, but I wouldn't mind Yushin Okami. Laugh at me. Even a guy like Chris Lieben going over to Strikeforce and fighting him.
It's not a bad idea either.
What are they going to do with Patrick Cote? And I would send him over there.
Good call. I can't argue with any of that. AKA Rockhold's rolling over there. I mean, if ever there was a camp to prepare the guy, I mean, he's at least in a good camp. It's just a question of when do they bring him over.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, for those that have watched our show, I'm a huge Luke Rockhold fan. Calling out Tim Bosch to me is kind of like, okay, I mean, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really seem like that much of a step up, I mean, if you're going to call somebody out, call out Anderson Silva. I mean, that's it, dude. It's probably not going to put it together anyway.
Yeah, not only will they not put it together, but I think you were right. I don't think anybody ever is going to satisfy you.
No, it takes a lot.
Next story, UFC. Like I said, I know you're not big on facts and figures and stuff on the show, but the only reason I want to point this out is, for one, they did a $7 million gate. That's a North American record. And then secondly, did over 1 million buys. I think slightly over 1 million. I would have been shocked if it didn't do that. Then
we called that for weeks on this show.
No, that had to. There's no way that wasn't going to do. I don't even think that was a very profound realization. I mean, it wasn't exactly going out on a limb there.
No, it wasn't.
But the reason I bring that up is because you have medical suspensions over there. And even though Tito's retired and it's irrelevant, it doesn't matter anymore. The fact is he broke his jaw, so they have no fight clauses, no training clauses, no contact clause. I mean, there's all these different clauses based on the severity of the injury sustained during the fight. The reason I think that's relevant is because I want to ask you, with the craze of MMA, I mean, there's so many regional promotions. It's almost reminiscent of I hate to bring up WWE days, but that type of thing used to be regional until gained prominence and it became one big organization. But now it's like the reverse effect here. You got one big organization, and now everybody's trying to jump on the bandwagon, and you got a lot of regional guys. And to me, I think it's good. You gotta have a place for all these people to fight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to compete, and being that I am a huge believer in ring rust, I think you have to fight as much as possible. But my question to you is, do you think all the regional promoters across the country, do you think that when they don't have commissions overseeing fighters, is that to the fighters' detriment, first off?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I mean, then the closer I've gotten to some of those promotions, there's no question about it. There's no question about it. In my opinion, and I know it would be hard to do, but if you're in a position where you're wanting to start an MMA promotion, MMA from the bottom level to UFC should have a certain set of rules to protect fighters. Bottom line.
Well, I mean, I think even if
at least for safety,
or at least have commissions oversee everything. I mean, I'm not a huge big state law type guy, but I do believe in I think there needs to be a commission involved, and the reason I think that is because what you see in a lot of regional promotions everywhere, not just California but everywhere, is you see a lot of fighters that are responsible for purchasing and selling all the tickets, And my question, to any promoter after seeing something, things like that everywhere really, is where's your incentive to keep the guy out? Should somebody get stretched really bad? Where's your incentive to not have the guy if that's your cash cow,
There isn't one.
I mean, your product should speak for itself, right?
There isn't one. It basically comes down to, some of these promoters out there have to have, a certain pride in what they're getting out there. I mean, and if you're going to send in a dude who's been knocked out 3 times in a 3-month span because he could sell 500 tickets, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
You got to feel a little dirty about that.
Yeah, and that's the correlation there between like I said, promotions at the bottom versus the pinnacle, the UFC, is that when you and I don't even think it is a regional thing versus a UFC thing. It's a commission thing. When you have a commission overseeing everything, there's certain severities to the injuries, like I said, and there's got to be no training clauses. There's got to be no contact. I mean, depending on you get a broken jaw, there's no way you should be sending a guy out there the next month and a half to go do the same thing.
And you know what? And with that being said, you get to some of the local promotions and the lower shows, camps and solid head coaches. A lot of them are in it for the cash too, because you would think they would want to protect their fighters. Say, hey, no, dude. I mean, you've been knocked out 3 times in the last 5 months. You need to take some time off. Maybe this isn't for you,
right?
I mean, maybe you should start working some other 9 to 5. I don't know. But at some point, somebody's got to step up and be accountable and say, you know what, this guy. I know he has passion for MMA, and I know he loves to train. But at some point in time, somebody's got to step in and say, it's just not good for this guy's life. I mean, a lot of these people we see are in their early 20s, and to see a dude get knocked out that often, it makes you feel bad for him.
Well, and you also see guys sacrifice on the record too, because you see guys putting together 4 or 6 losses in a row because they're being pushed out there too fast. They're not given a proper chance to heal, and there's just like I said, you don't see any of that when a commission oversees that. And like in California, I know there's certain rules for a commission. You have to guarantee the fighter purse before it can even take place. So when you have to. There's a certain investment tied into it, and not necessarily just ticket sales. That's why you see TV and all that other stuff. But I mean, when you have a commission overseeing everything, I mean, it's just everything is on the up and up. And really at the end of the day, it should be about fighter safety. That's my opinion. And
it just takes away from the. I mean, you and I are very passionate about the sport. Obviously, I mean, look at what we
do. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and it's for me and for you and for MMA fans across the world. I mean, it's just hard to see somebody in a position that is able to promote fights, not almost like they don't have that same passion. And I don't want to say maybe they do, maybe they don't, but the protection of fighters is key to me.
Yeah,
absolutely key to me.
Well, that's what makes the sport, the event, everything. I mean, I just think it's sad. And you know what? You look at a guy like Dana White when Chuck Liddell was retiring, he said that he didn't want a dollar of dirty money. He's not just going to throw the guy out there because he's a pay-per-view draw and they could go scrape up a few more million. I mean, he didn't want to see the guy get hurt, and that's the difference.
And you know what? But that's such a big difference because you're talking about a guy like Chuck Liddell. I mean, he gets knocked out. He made, $10 million and he goes to sleep in silk sheets.
Yeah,
I'm talking about guys scratching and clawing for a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, and all working 2-3 other jobs.
Yeah, and it's just hard to see, man.
Will we see an MMA death on a regional promotion?
Yes.
I mean, we've already seen necks broken. We've already seen, people not carrying the right type of insurance. I mean, we actually saw that, I think, when we first started Pound for Pound Sports beginning of the year, just that, there was a guy that broke his neck and the promoter didn't have, I mean, I think you've already seen the nasty injuries, but you're definitely going to see a death.
There's been deaths in some,
but there's going to be more.
Non-sanctioned stuff. Are you asking me like in the sanctioned fight?
No, I mean, you're going to see more and more to the point where, certain laws are going to be in place. It's going to damage the integrity of the sport, you think? They're going to have to make certain rules. Oh, you can't do this. Maybe it's not elbows.
The sport is so, I mean, it's dodging so many hurdles as it is.
It's under a lot of scrutiny as it is.
Yeah, it's
just being legit.
The more and more that I've been following, some other stuff, there's going to be deaths out there. Maybe not death, but some serious like you said, that guy's paralyzed. It is terrible.
Got to have the commissions step in for sure. Real quick, we're going to do kind of a rapid-fire thing here to close out the show.
Yeah.
I thought it was just, like I said, a little bit different. Instead of breaking down the fight, we're saving that for the other show. A lot of interesting headlines. This is always one of my favorite ones. Everybody's, for that matter. I mean, if you watch any Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida fight, and you're going to see a Lyoto fight this weekend, Steven Seagal in every single picture, shot, taking credit for everything. And I thought it was funny because Nam Pham essentially said what everybody else is thinking, and that Steven Seagal is a douche. And I, for one, I don't think he could have been more on target. I mean, like I said, he kind of basically said what everybody else is thinking. And to that, Steven Seagal, he said, "Who's Nam Pham? I've never heard of him. Is he American? I don't know who this guy is, and I really don't care." What's your interpretation of Steven Seagal and what he is in mixed martial arts today? I mean, do you think it's a big joke?
For the record, I want to go on record as saying that Steven Seagal is a douche, for the record. And it's just, to me, it's so pathetic watching the way he clings on to MMA superstars. It is so pathetic. I mean, this guy, he makes sure his face is in every shot.
Takes credit for all their wins.
And I don't even know. I remember when after Anderson Silva knocked out Vitor Belfort with that face kick, he thanked Steven Seagal or whatever, and he did it all with like a smirk on his face. I didn't really quite know if he was joking or if he's
kidding. Yeah.
If the joke's all on Steven Seagal or if he's serious.
No, he was serious. He believes it. I think he absolutely believes
Silva,
it.
I mean.
Oh, I thought. Okay,
when Anderson Silva, I mean, I don't know if these guys are all. I don't know. He's a douche, dude. I wish.
He's absolutely a douche. What's funny is, like I said, Steven Seagal in the past, he's been critical of a lot of other fighters. He doesn't just take credit. He's been critical of John Jones regarding his striking executions.
Who is he, dude?
I was going to say, the one thing I will say, and the one thing you can't take away from the guy is, okay, the guy is a 7th degree black belt in Aikido. Okay, but my question is, when have you ever seen effective Aikido in the octagon used?
Aikido? I couldn't even tell you what that is.
Couldn't even tell you what the difference is. You don't even see that. You never see that.
I couldn't even tell you how to spell it. I don't even know what that is.
That's what I'm saying. And my second thing is, isn't he a bit late? I mean, where was Steven Seagal before this is on pay-per-view? And, where was this 7th degree black belt before, like I said, before it was a mainstream sport and it was competing with, baseball and football? I mean, this guy was nowhere. And you're going to keep seeing him. You're going to keep seeing him. It's funny. You're going to keep seeing him.
Maybe he is friends with those guys. Who knows? Maybe he's paying them. Maybe he's paying Lyoto Machida a little bit of money because if you just look at the two guys' personalities, it doesn't really look like they'd mesh.
I find that really weird, but like I said, you're going to see more and more of them. You're going to see them on Saturday, so we'll come back and we'll get your thoughts. Can't wait. Couple stories. I want to know from you real quick. Is it premature for Alistair Overeem to be calling out Junior Dos Santos like he's next in line for a title, despite everything that happened?
If the suspension and the positive test did not happen, I would say no. But since he did get suspended, he did get. He did test dirty. I'd say yes. I mean, what kind of example would that set as to where a guy could piss dirty, take his year layoff, and come fight for the title?
Yeah, that's. I don't know what he said, but it must have been pretty good. He won Dana White over. He won the Fertitas over. I can't wait. It's gonna unfold, and I'm gonna find out.
And props to him for being the bigger man and going in there. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that, but to give him the next title shot, absolutely. No. I think he needs another fight.
Well,
not to mention his one fight in the UFC is against Brock Lesnar, who isn't exactly a juggernaut.
You're right.
I mean, come on. Let's be real here.
No, you hit the net. You're right on target with that one. My only question about that would be, what if Cain Velasquez takes the title? Is he going to call out Cain, or is he still going to want to fight Dos Santos?
No.
He's going to want to fight whoever has the strap.
He's going to want to fight who has the gold. And,
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Either way, I can't wait to see it. I hope it comes back soon, and I'm dying to see it. What do you make of Koscheck, Jake Ellenberger? They just announced that not too long ago. What's your early feeling about that?
I love it. I love it. You talk about Josh Koscheck, and you want to talk about a guy that's in desperate need of a good performance. I mean,
both guys.
Yeah, but Koscheck more so.
Yeah, well, Koscheck's mouth.
Koscheck's a guy that needs that swagger back, and he needs to have a good performance. He's had 2 lackluster fights since he beat his last win was Matt Hughes.
Yeah,
and he's had just 2 very, very poor fights since then.
Again, Matt Hughes, it's always against wrestlers. When it's like I said, he's become a bit of a one-trick pony. I mean, he's looking to land that big right, and like I said, I in my opinion, it's a pick 'em fight right here.
You know what? I
Slight
swear
edge
to
of power.
you, I was going to say, I bet you when we see the odds come out, it's going to be really close to a pick 'em fight.
Yeah,
but I can't wait to see that fight. I think it's a great matchup. It's perfect timing in both those guys' career.
Absolutely perfect timing. Would you be interested in seeing a Matt Hughes, Matt Serra matchup again?
Absolutely. I'd be interested in watching two ladies fight in a grocery store. You said it. You say that all the time.
I do, man.
But who doesn't like a good old grudge match? They want to say the
well,
beef
they kind of
squad.
left it. They left it in the cage. Come on.
We'll see.
Well,
don't
think for a second they'll hype it up. They will.
By why? They got no.
They'll sell the fight.
But they're not. I mean, they're not like a big pay-per-view back.
That's what I'm saying. It's
anymore.
not. It can't. Whatever it is, I don't think it can be a main
Those
event. Or a co-main event.
No.
And it would probably most likely make sense if they ever get it set up in New York. We'll find out.
Yeah, no, but of course I'd like to see that fight.
Phil Baroni heads back to AKA. He feels he has something to prove, and that he's entering the twilight of his career. I would argue that he's been in the twilight for a very long time. Would you agree with me?
I would 100% agree. He's been in the twilight for about 10 years now.
I mean, he's got a sub-500 record. I mean, he's been in the game a little long, and I don't think his style has evolved enough to the point where we're ever going to see him back in the UFC.
He's 14-15. He's a name. He's Phil Baroni. Everybody knows that name. Everybody in MMA. Yeah, exactly. He's known for his striking, but when's the last time we've seen him knock anyone out?
I don't even think you'd see him really in Bellator either. I think you should probably go see him in like Titan or something like that.
No, he's fighting. He's fighting in ONE FC right now, and he's getting knocked out by dudes over there.
I know, man. That's crazy. Last story of the night: Rick Story, Damian Maia announced for UFC 153. What do you make of this matchup? I think it's fantastic.
I think it's another great matchup. As I said on the post-fight show, it was really hard to take out. To critique Damian Maia's performance. I mean, he came out so aggressive, went for the takedown, and you heard Dong Young Kim's rib during the takedown somehow. So, I mean, it was really hard to take anything out of that performance, but at the same time, you got to see the aggressive Damian Maia try to get the fight to the ground.
Totally different guy. Looks a lot more confident at 170. I like him at 170 as long as the weight's not an issue for him. I absolutely love this matchup.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Rick Story is one of those guys we always talk about. We just talked about it with Thiago Silva earlier. Rick Story is one of those guys that is stuck in a rut.
Oh, he is.
His last fight, I don't even know, let's call it 4 years, 4 fights, who knows. It seems to me like he's stuck in a rut, and why not make a camp change?
I think it's necessary.
Is it loyal? Do you think it's loyalties to the guys that he's training with now, you think?
I think you just got to be real at some point. I mean, it probably is. It probably is. I mean, like I said, when you hit a couple of bumps, I mean, it's more than a couple of bumps now. I mean, he's literally, it seems like every time you turn around, he's fighting for his career.
Yeah, I mean, he came out, he was shot out of a cannon, but the last couple of years, he's really just been idle. I mean, he's just been another guy in the UFC.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, he's had a lot of hype behind him. He looks, like I said, he looks scary at 170, but I would argue that Damian Maia looks probably a little bit more scary at this point.
Damian Maia is the odds favorite.
Got to be the odds favorite. Got to be my early prediction. With that takes care of everything. A little bit of a different show today. Change pace.
Yeah,
it was kind of nice to change
fun.
pace. There's no, real serious time commitments or nothing like that. But we're saving that for Saturday, and we can't wait to get after it. PFPsports.com is your website. Facebook, Pound for Pound Sports. Make sure you hit like. Twitter @Nick PFP Sports.
I'm @Darren PFP Sports. And really quick, I just wanted to thank all the local people out there that bought ad time for our radio real quick. I just kind of wanted to thank some of those businesses. Hit Marine, Scotty's, Obui Pool Service, Ray Day Tool Care, Carbon, Wakeboards, Flowboards.
You don't have to name all of them.
And, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And then King's Custom.
I can't remember them all.
I can't
remember them all. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
You're like a guy thanking your family.
Yeah,
at the
I'm like a award show. But it's been a really fun show. Hope you guys like just kind of a more relaxed, hanging out kind of show.
Absolutely. And
Suck it.
I enjoyed doing it, man. No pressure, just hanging out, doing whatever. And I also want to throw out before we leave, there's an ESPN app that you
Yep.
Not the ESPN app, but there's something like it. It's like iHeartRadio, but it's called TuneIn Radio. If you look on the App Store, you'll find that, and if you just type in the call letters XEPE, you can find us Saturday 9:00.
Can't wait,
local time.
Cannot wait.
Hope to see you guys there.
I feel like we got our big fight coming up. This is like the closest we're ever gonna have to like a big fight.
Like a bullpen.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Peace.